Good day to anybody listening. To start off, to the I am a black woman. Um, for anybody interested in listening to the entire video, I'm going to give you a heads up. I don't want to waste your time. I am not feeling the greatest today. So I'm talking a little slowly. Also, I want to be very careful with the way I explain things in strategic. Um, for anybody who's been listening, been praying with me, for me, my family, and the good people in my community, I thank you for real. Uh, my faith is being tested again. I am still sticking with it though. As far as prayer is concerned, I do try to make sure it's one of the first things I do when I get up, like within the span of five minutes, give or take. Uh, I put a prayer into my morning. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah. So don't forget to pray if you're into the type of thing. Like if you believe that there is a higher power, a lower power, uh, don't forget to pray. Also, once you excuse me, once you get what you pray for the wisdom and the strength and the endurance to keep what you pray for. You understand what I'm saying? Even when God gives you something, you gotta pray to hold on to it. You understand what I'm saying? Uh, but it's a little bit harder today for me for something else. And so I found this. I was cleaning up. I made this a few years ago for a loved one birthday. It was like a casino theme party. I was trying to figure out which side I thought was cuter. I ended up just coming up with my own stuff, and then people ripped it off online. I made the diamonds red. I made the hearts red. I made the spades, and I made the clubs black. But you know how I did it on like a little cheap party, favorite bag paper. You might be wondering what does this have to do with anything? Well, it's relatable to what I want to discuss. I want to discuss strategy and how to play your cards right? And what happens when you get a card or a few cards and it's iffy? You know what I'm saying? You don't know how to read the book. It's kind of hard for you to know how to make your next move, right? I've been learning through trial and error to be more strategic in everything that I do, including the way that I communicate, because it can be the difference between life and death. If not for me, for someone else. These things are very, very serious right here for me. This is why even when I'm bombarded with a whole lot of negativity, I'm learning to keep it clean. I'm learning to keep it very clean. Even when people start unraveling at the seams and they become very aggressive and they become very disrespectful or whatever, I've learned through much heartache, pain, trial, and error to never meet them at that low point. Also, it's incredibly dangerous as a female, especially as a woman of African descent, to meet people at their very dangerous, toxic, low vibrational frequencies. Because, see, what a lot of other people may be able to say and live after they say it, well, we'll be the first ones on the chopping block. I've brushed shoulders with one too many black women who they weren't careful with the way they communicated, and they weren't careful with the way that they expressed a lot of things. They ended up becoming a TI. Like, I'll just give an example. Years ago, before I understood what a TI was, uh, I'm not going to say the name of the individual, but I didn't know them on a personal note, but I knew about them, like Lipstick Alley, Facebook, whatever. And they are not a foundational Black American female. I think they were from Somalia, but oftentimes they had a very blunt, harsh way of disagreeing with other individuals, especially other women of African descent. As you all may know, I myself am an FBA. You understand what I'm saying? Um, and this person was a Somali American woman who was married to a non-black man. It wasn't the first black man, excuse me, it wasn't the first non-black husband that she'd had. And she come from a strict religious background. Things were done to her and her culture that I don't want to get into. You know what I'm saying? That should never happen to any human being. But it's happening globally to boys, to baby boys and girls, young girls. Um, anyhow, oftentimes when she would try to express herself, and she maybe she thought she was just being passionate, right? She just came off too harsh. She came off too harsh, too abrasive, and I think unbeknownst to her at the time, she was setting herself up for some failure. One time, I think she was describing a situation with some African boys being discriminated against in Egypt by, let's just say, uh, the Islamic individuals. They were not of African descent, but so basically there was some racial stuff going on. I'm summing this up, and I have to be careful with the way I speak about this. YouTube is very, strict on these type of things, sensitive subject matter such as race, politics. So basically, the African boys was being mistreated. I'm probably, it's probably an understatement, but they were getting put through a whole lot of sugar honey iced tea by these other individuals, and she was like very, very, very critical and very aggressive with the way she had every right to feel the way she felt, you know, especially as a continental woman, you know, it hurt her. And then there was another time she criticized uh some Zionists for something similar, but and she would do this with whoever. Like, sometimes she came at me crazy. And one day, even when she was discussing colorism, and I made this mistake only a couple times online, but I do believe that black people, including black women, were beautiful in all types of shades, hair textures, and phenotypes. You can find different levels of attractiveness in all, I don't think that your color or your phenotype or your hair texture alone either gives or takes away from your beauty. You understand? But that's just me. But the point of the matter is, I learned, and I hope she's learned, that people really do care the way we express ourselves. And sometimes I think, come on, I don't know what's going on, but I'm recording. I think they care too much. Sometimes I think they care too much. And that's not always a good thing either. Before I realized what a TI was, I remember her saying, they're distorting my videos. My videos are being distorted. My phone is being tampered with. I be feeling sick. I think somebody, did something to my food at a restaurant, da 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 da. And a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it sounds like she losing her mind. She sound crazy." This was like, this might have been 2012. I'm not sure, but 2012, 2013. I'm not exactly sure. And this is like, in hindsight, I now know it's a strong chance she wasn't losing her mind. It's a very strong chance that she had made herself a TI, knowing what I know now, dealing with this since what, 2016, maybe before that, and I just didn't realize it. You might be wondering, where am I going with this? It goes back to the beginning of what I said as far as strategizing. Even when you get passionate, even when you get frustrated, even when you get angry, it is imperative, especially as a woman of African descent, especially as a foundational Black American woman, that you learn how to speak on sensitive issues in a way that's not, how can I put it? That's not going to be too chaotic. That's not going to be, I mean, well, first, let me say this. In this society, there's always going to be individuals who find something wrong with everything you do or say. It doesn't matter how benevolent, respectful, or classy, or whatever, or how dignified, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter about your, to a certain extent, like your dialect, your pronunciation of words, to a certain extent, you'll always have critics, excuse me. But, we Black over here, right? So we kind of do have to watch how we carry ourselves. I didn't know this because I've seen people, and even today, still, I see people saying things that are 1,000 times worse. And for a long time, they were getting paid to say things that were hurtful and hateful and that basically incited terrorism against certain groups. Even there was a time when, hey, YouTube would pay these people. Before YouTube started to become more corporate minded and more business oriented, and before they realized just how dangerous a lot of that rhetoric was, and how certain things were unfolding, you know, offline, behind the scenes. People were getting hurt. Sometimes people were losing their lives offline. So they made all these changes and moderated it, and it's different. But before, it was like the wild, wild west. And it was just more about, people cared more about getting views. There's so many reasons. Like, I've come to understand the saying, all money is not good money. Because there's certain individuals who made so much money, you know, saying terrible, hateful things over and over and over and over, and and people let them live. They made a lot of money off YouTube, but you don't really see them doing too much these days. As far as being strategic, you don't want to make the whole world hate you, or you don't want to make too many people, you know, distance themselves from you. This is about strategizing. It's about what? Knowing how to play the card you're dealt. But this card is kind of funny. I got a card that's funny. I don't really understand it. So I'm struggling to figure out how to make my next move, how to play my next hand. And I'm dealing with that right now. Like, I'm getting mixed signals from the universe. I'm getting mixed signals. Like, there's some positive affirmations. There's a little bit of funny stuff going on too. But then again, it's like, now I'm feeling not too great. It's pressure around my skull, especially my temples. This dizziness, this wooziness, and then when it hits me, and then I feel warm. I feel real warm, like my blood is warming up a little bit, ever so slightly. And then I get instantly tired. I have to lay down. I have to lay down within the next couple seconds. To the point where today I didn't even get out the house to actually go and do laundry. I was only able to just go get a loaf of bread and something to drink. Because it's the only energy that I had. I didn't have no real energy. Again, so I'm getting positive affirmations, but now it's just like, and it could be my haters working hard to like pull me back into the fray. because every time they see me taking a few steps forward, it enrages them. It really enrages them. It really enrages them. And nobody's ever going to tell me, but there might be a number on my head. I don't know what it's worth. I don't know what it's worth. But when you know that there's killers, there's people that's into messing around with minors, uh, there's people that's into trafficking, all sorts of things. When you know that they have a lot of important, high-value friends who have let the real serious, sinister things go under the radar. Meanwhile, everybody want to come after you. It means that you're important, but for all the wrong reasons. It also means, hey, you might be worth something. Even if your head is on a silver platter, it'd be like a trophy to see who can get it. And these are just my theories. I have theories. It's incredible when I see everything else that people have let go under the radar. And it's individuals that live away across the country. They live across the country. They still focus on everything, literally everything I'm doing in my apartment. I don't bring them up. I don't. If it's a song, a movie, a show, I don't care to listen to it or whatever. And they've latched on to me. I could feel their presence. This is not me, doing no necessary cuckoo for cuckoo. No, And I understand subliminal messaging too. I was getting bombarded with a whole lot of it, and some of it was implied threats. To the point where I said to myself, certain individuals with their privilege and their power and their mass following, what they're doing is potentially incredibly dangerous, not only for me, but I have loved ones. Because while I don't mind, leaving this world, we all gotta leave this world one day. We live and we die. It is what it is. We all gotta leave this world, right? I'm not looking for problems with people, but I would rather it be me than anybody that I love. That includes relatives. That also includes extended relatives I may not know. Excuse me. Not feeling very well. Where's my rag? Anyhow, so to the point where I said I think I might have to talk to some lawyers or something, or a detective. Even trying my luck back with the prosecutor's office because I can't have this. I can't have this. And then somebody basically turned around and insinuated that I could be a threat to their life. And I'm sitting over here like, how, Sway? When I'm literally like low key saying, okay, keep me out of this. Keep me out of this. Keep me out of this. There was a song made for me about minding your business. I've been doing that. As you guys can see, I share things about God, things related to funny cat videos, sisters leveling up, whether they level up with a beautiful, attractive black man or a beautiful non-black man. These are the things I've been focusing on. Things about therapy, how to communicate better, as far as spirituality, how to pray to the universe for things that you want and what you desire. Prepping, canning, you know what I'm saying? How to heat your home in the event that all your power goes out. How to filter water. You know what I'm saying? Herbal remedies. These are the things I've been looking for. So anything low vibrational, ratchet, whatever, like I have not had the patience or the time or the interest in learning how to be more strategic with the way I move, with everything that I do. And I have to act in a way that it could be like, I have to act as if it's life or death. I have to carry myself that way as well. I learned, you know what I'm saying? People have more power, more privilege, more reach than you. When they're disrespectful, you either don't say anything, you don't say anything. But if you must say anything at all, you do not confront them directly. And some people might not like what I'm getting ready to do next, but I said it before. One thing I will always respect about white men is, is their ability to keep a lot of things in house. What I've seen with them in general, when they're dealing with a white female that they don't like, that they're beefing or disagreeing with, they don't tend to, how can I put it, rally other races of individuals, especially men, to want to harm the women of their race, or uh, commit acts of domestic terrorism against a particular, woman of their race that they don't like, that they can't stand, that they disagree with. Because as men, they know how to handle that. The same way as men, generally speaking, even if they don't necessarily like certain women of their race, generally they're not okay with seeing negative things happening to their women right in front of them, or too close within their vicinity. What I'm saying is akin to what happened to Nicole Brown. Like a lot of white men were very angry about that. It's not something that they like to see. It's something to me that's so masculine about that. Like this woman, in my group is from my tribe. I don't. I have a disagreement. I have a problem with this woman. I'm gonna deal with it. Or what I'm not gonna allow, even if I'm not particularly fond, I'm not gonna allow the whole wide world, while I'm standing right here, to come at one of mine from my race. I respect that. It's masculine to me. But everything else that I be seeing, that's not masculine to me. It is just not me trying to pick fights with anybody or whatever. It's just not. And a lot of this started because a few days ago I said, well, because me and my family have been through a whole lot. Uh, Listen, as far as anti-blackness, racism is concerned, I've seen the worst of the worst. But apparently, it just seems like I'm supposed to hate every man that's white, and I don't. And I don't. This is not to say that I love them all. I don't hate no whole anything. Because you got crappy and hateful individuals in every group, in every race, and every ethnicity. And regardless of skin color, I'm going to be grateful and appreciative of whoever's helping me and mine's right now. Whoever's looking out for me, right? If they happen to be non-black, okay, I'm a rock with them. I'm a roll with it. I'm a rock and roll with it. If they happen to be my color, I'm a roll with it. But let's just say if they white or Asian, I'm a roll with it. Whoever's helping me, I'm a roll with it. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. This is like survival of the fittest. Again, through a lot of trial and error, I've learned you stick with who's sticking with you. Especially like when SHTF, when it get real out here. When you in pain, when you're hurting, when you're trying to figure out how you're going to eat, how you're going to maintain, you stick with who sticks with you. Period. Also, and anybody trying to say that I'm copping out, a lot of these dudes, Some of them happen to be entertainers, and they also happen to be black. Ask yourself, how have they been able to hurt or erase a lot of black people over the years and still, do what they do? Or it might take a long time before it catch up to them. They've been doing what? They've been cutting deals with the same man that's controlling all of this. The same man that might control everything going on in my life, they'll run to him to cut deals with him. Like, it's funny, like, a lot of black people be wanting you to be Sister Soldier out there, but they ain't gonna give you the tools, they ain't gonna give you the weapons to do what you need to do, and then turn around and saying you this, you that, you're weak. Basically, that you're a punk, basically. I risk going to meet with the former Superior Court Judge of New Jersey to see what I could do to help not just my family, but my community. I risked a lot. I did it anyway. Went to the prosecutor a few years ago to try to explain certain things that I seen that was wrong happening in my community. Knowing the consequences, I did it anyway. So many times I put myself on the line knowing I could be hurt. I could be poisoned again. I could be physically assaulted again. Or spoke my mind about a theory that I had of why somebody might have been, going through some similar things that I'm dealing with. Knowing how serious it was and I might lose favor, I did it in spite of the fact. In spite of. And very recently, I've still been helping the community inadvertently. Me not having no privacy, a lot of times it's like a curse. But sometimes it's a gift and a curse. Sometimes it's a gift and a curse. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Very important, people. Listen to everything I say in my apartment. Including if I discuss people that like to do terrible things to children. So if a child had something done to them that was terrible, and I speak on it, and those very important people hear what I'm saying, well, you get the point. It's not that I'm looking to do it intentionally. I'll never get the credit for that. The funny thing is, a lot of people listening to me right now either have children of their own or they have children in their family. How would you feel if it was taking too long for them to figure out what happened to your child or who was responsible? But all of a sudden, I speak about it in my house, and the next day, spot him, got him. The perpetrator is doing a perp walk in handcuffs. It's not intentional, but I think it could be something with that. It's not intentional. I'm saying it's not intentional because, well, a lot of black people don't like snakes. They don't like rats. They don't like whatever. So why would I, again, it's not even just me that I have to concern myself with in my safety. I have family, okay? I have family. And even it's gotten to the point where when I hear about a lot of kids getting murdered or women getting murdered and people going missing,